Hello everyone, my name is Bharat. I am the lead design and innovation manager here for the Health and Financial Services program. I'm really excited to introduce you to the startups that have been selected for our first Startup Creasphere program. Along with our partners, we've selected one startup each for the following focus areas. For the Roche team, we are looking into remote patient monitoring for cardiovascular diseases, remote diagnostics for influenza, and telehealth for diabetes care. As for the Sanofi consumer healthcare team, we are looking into migraine care, gut health management, and allergy management. So first we will look into the focus areas from the Roche team. But before we begin, I want to remind you that there will be a Q&A session at the end of this section. So feel free to write questions in the Q&A window during the presentations so we can ask the presenters at the end. Bringing up our very first presentation, we have Dr. Anywhere, based out of Singapore, for the focus area telehealth for diabetes care. Dr. Anywhere is a regional telehealth company that harnesses the power of technology and connectivity to combine a full range of health and wellness services into a single platform. We have Dr. Yang from the Dr. Anywhere team.
Hello everybody. Hi, my name is Dr. Yang from Dr. Anywhere, and today I'm actually very honored to be able to speak at the Startup Creasphere APAC Expo Day. I would like to take this 5 minutes of everyone's time to give everyone an understanding of who we are at Dr. Anywhere, as well as what we do. So Dr. Anywhere is actually a medical tech company that was founded in 2017. We have headquarters in Singapore, and we offer a wide range of services across 6 different countries across Southeast Asia. And within this wide range of services, we have 15 DA clinics and pharmacies that are owned by us. We also have a network of general practitioners, specialists that we work with. And of course, supporting these doctors, we have imaging centers, we have insurers that we work with to provide services to our patients. So the 6 regional countries that we actually have a presence in are most notably in Vietnam, in Thailand, as well as in Philippines. We also have a presence in Malaysia and India as well. So I would like to give everybody a clearer understanding of what we do at Dr. Anywhere. So we actually have a few core verticals. So over on this slide, you will actually see the core verticals that we have. So on the extreme left of the slide, you actually notice that we have the DA Virtual Clinic, which is what we started off doing, and that is what we are most famous for. The DA Virtual Clinic is essentially a telemedicine service that we offer to patients, as well as to companies, corporate clients, as well as insurers. Now, in addition to this DA Virtual Clinic, in the online sphere, we actually also have the DA Marketplace, where we sell healthcare products as well as medical devices through the online route as well. And in addition to that, I think especially very importantly, complementary to our online space, we also have the offline clinics. So the offline clinics helps to complement the online service that we offer. I think most of us here, we all understand that telemedicine alone cannot fully replace the use us seeing a doctor. So ultimately, very often we need an offline business model to also complement what we do online. So with the offline sphere, what we do is that we actually have in-house GP clinics as well as specialists where patients can actually follow up on their conditions. So I think the next 2 parts on the right side of the slide actually gives everybody an understanding of the other kind of businesses that we also have a hand in. So the main thing that we also do is also with regards to claims administration. So Dr. Anywhere actually owns a third-party administrator known as Adapt, which also works with insurers to do medical claims. We also do administration of insurance policies for insurance companies. So I think clearly from this slide, I think everybody can get an understanding that Dr. Anywhere is not just really into the telemedicine sphere. It's also not just a healthcare company by itself. Our aim is to be an omni-channel healthcare service provider that can provide a full suite of services from online to offline to tertiary care as well as to post-care kind of hospitalization claims administration. Now, I'll just I think we've gotten a pretty clear understanding of what we do at Dr. Anywhere. I'd just like to spend the next couple of minutes just talking about our Startup Creasphere program that we have been doing with Roche. So I'll be touching on 2 points. The first point is actually the background to the collaboration, essentially the why as to why we are doing this with Roche and why we think there's a certain value proposition to this project. And the second point, just very briefly, I'll touch on how exactly we are actually doing it. So the first part about the why is actually, I think, stems from the fact that as a health tech company, we have seen many patients with chronic diseases such as diabetes, and we know that poor screening usually leads to poor management. And at the same time, we have a well-established home-based testing service where we have nurses, we have phlebotomists, we have medical doctors that actually visit homes to provide medical services. So I think when Roche came to the picture with the Roche Cobas B101 machine, it was essentially, I would say, a very nice pairing where we had our home-based services making use of the device to provide immediate or almost immediate testing of diabetes for individuals at home. So this value proposition really gives us an edge in the market in providing individuals with home-based testing on an almost immediate basis. So I think so far, what we've done so far within the Roche program, we actually have 2 ongoing pilot projects. The first one is actually within the Roche Diagnostics Singapore domestic employees. So I would also like to really thank Roche Diagnostics Singapore for really supporting this pilot project. In addition to that, we also target our users of our app, aged between 30 to 50 years old, and encouraging them to actually take up home-based screening for diabetes. So we expect, or rather we hope that within this pilot project, we will be able to get close to about 80 users to test out the workflow, to see whether something like this would be of demand. And I think so far, I think the results have been quite optimistic. So I think that's really the amount of time that I have left. So I'll be more than happy to answer any questions about Dr. Anywhere as well as the project that we have been doing with Roche. Thank you very much.
Moving on, tackling remote patient monitoring for cardiovascular diseases, we have Respri, based out of Singapore. Respri is an end-to-end cardiorespiratory monitoring and analytics platform solution that can connect hospitals and homes via API bridges. Please welcome Gurpreet Singh, the founder of Respri, to tell you more.
Hi, this is Gurpreet here, founder for Respri, a medical device company focused on chronic disease management using artificial intelligence processes for healthcare providers. Chronic diseases are a huge health burden in APAC. 2 out of 3 die due to chronic diseases. A key attributor to this burden are high readmissions. One way to reduce readmissions is to manage care from homes. However, there are limitations to managing care from homes. Poor compliance by elderly, that form the crux of chronic disease patients, too much data for healthcare providers to sift through, and lack of evidence-based analytics. We provide a solution called IRIS that essentially uses artificial intelligence to streamline chronic care data into very simple reports. Eventually, we provide breath cardio variables, symptom reports, medical records that are sieved through using an informatics system based on artificial intelligence, and they provide very simple visualizations and weekly reports for healthcare providers and GPs. How does IRIS work? A doctor prescribes 90 days care on discharge to selected high-risk patients. Patient uses the device at night and the app in the day, and IRIS analyzes the data to scout for deterioration. The doctor then receives events that are summarized in very easy-to-use reports and visualizations. What are some of the key differentiators of IRIS? We provide a very small, elderly-friendly variable that doesn't require any form of mobile devices to synchronization. We provide software analytics that are personalized and predictive. And we provide all this information using very easy to use streamlined reports for healthcare professionals. These are built by healthcare professionals for healthcare professionals. It is because of these key differentiators that we have accelerated our customer base across APAC in Q2, Q3 2020. Namely, we have 6 APAC hospitals for deployments, 4 hospitals as customers or agreed to adopt or EMR integrate for scale, 1 licensing MOU signed for APAC distribution, and 2 projects with MNCs on pharmacovigilance of oncology drugs. The Roche Raspberry Accelerator Program further solidifies the market attractiveness of IRIS via the strong KOL interest. We have further added to our 6 APAC hospitals for deployments an additional 3+ pilot hospitals with signed MOUs for deployments. These are from Australia, Japan, and Malaysia. From a pilot deployment, what really excites us is moving towards co-creation of new biomarker-integrated platforms that combine the best of Roche NT-proBNP biomarker for heart failure with Raspberry's chronic disease or remote management platform. Indeed, the market is rich and has a huge amount of opportunity in APAC for chronic disease. APAC is expected to be the fastest gainer at a CAGR of 14.5%. As one has said, behind every good product, there is a good team. And we are very thankful and humbled that we have a very good team supporting our journey. Our vision is to create a world where people can live longer, breathe happier, and live healthier. But our fundamental aim, like any other medical company, is essentially one, and that is to save lives. Thank you.
Next up, we have iSensor based out of Taiwan, tackling remote diagnostics for influenza. iSensor is a dedicated, mobile-based digital testing platform that facilitates data-driven healthcare with rapid medical tests and seamless data synchronization. We have Carson Chen, CEO of iSensor, to tell us more.
Hi, this is Carson Chen. I'm the CEO and co-founder of iSensor, a mobile health company that turns smartphone into clinical-grade analyzers. Years ago, we used pocket camera to take our daily photos. And today, I think most people use their smartphone to do so. In the near future, we believe you can also use a smartphone to take your medical selfie. With your smartphone, you can take on-the-spot measurements. The result then can be seamlessly transferred to cloud, enabling your healthcare provider to take tiny actions. What makes this all possible is PixelTech, iSensor's smart color sensing technology. With PixelTech, we turn the front camera into an optical reader and screen of your smartphone into a light source to illuminate the optical strip. Together, they become a lab-grade instrument. By using optical strip technology, we can develop new product quickly, and also we provide a cost-effective solution. And with smartphone, it enables seamless data transmission, enable the transmission of health information, geographic information, and empower data-driven healthcare. And since 2012, we have been working on this technology platform and build a solid IP foundation. Today, we have more than 45 patents allowed. And one of the most frequently asked questions when we first founded iSensor is whether a smartphone-based test could be accurate. In 2017, we get FDA approval, which is the world first such test for blood testing. And since then, we have been expanding the application of this platform for different disease areas. Today, we have the solution for chronic disease, for women's health, and most recently, infectious disease. Right now, we are developing testing for COVID and influenza. And in Startup Creasphere, we are working with Roche for at-home testing solution for influenza. During COVID, people usually feel nervous when they start to cough because they are not sure whether that's actually flu or COVID. With our testing solution, they can use a smartphone to conduct the test at home. If it's positive, then they can order medicine online. If it's negative and they feel uncomfortable, they can still go to a doctor to seek further help. This will become a complete patient journey that can minimize unnecessary doctor visit to the hospital. And here is our prototype. On the left-hand side, you can see there's a white-orange adapter above the screen. That's our smart scanner that guides the light from screen toward the strip. And the app can read the strip and get the result right away. And in addition to the result, you can also have other information like body temperature and other health information, and use this app to consult your doctor remotely. The key benefit of using PicoTech, including standardized analysis, fast and accurate results, digital connectivity, and more importantly, accessibility. So beyond flu and COVID, we are also have the capability to develop new tests that allow you to do at-home testing. So afterwards, we are also looking for applications beyond infectious disease, cardiovascular diseases, like neurology, oncology. iSensor, with our PicoTech core technology, we can develop new product quickly, and we can also scale up the manufacturing in a tiny manner. So far, we have been working on more than 500 different smartphone models, and we look forward to learn from our partner regarding their disease expertise, and also leverage the clinical resources and commercial resources. iSensor is right now actively looking for global partnership. We look for partners in the pharma area, medtech, and IT. And we are having our Series C fundraising. With the 10 million Series C, we hope to give enough fuel to further fuel the growth and also foster our partnership with our strategic alliance. iSensor, we turn smartphone into lab-grade instruments and empower data-driven healthcare. We look forward to see you in the near future and hope we have the opportunity to collaborate. Thank you.
We know you're curious to learn more about these exciting developments. So now we will have the presenters dialing in live to answer your questions. We will kick it off with some questions we have at our end. If you haven't already, please open up the Q&A boxes in the Zoom window and ask your questions.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Q&A session. So just before we start, the audience who are watching, please type your questions into your Q&A box and make sure you're addressing it to the specific startup so that I can point the question to the right person. So just to kick us off, I thought we'll ask a question that's applicable to all of us here. So good to see you, everyone. So maybe the first question I'll ask, and then I can go around in a circle so that everyone can get a chance, and then we'll go into the specific questions for each of you. So the first question is what is on everyone's mind. So COVID-19 has accelerated a high rate of adoption in digital health. What changes have you made to your specific strategy to adapt to this uptake and opportunity? So maybe we'll start with Dr. Yang.
Okay, thanks, Bharat, for the introduction. So I think you raised out a very good point. I think in the last 8 to 9 months, we have definitely seen an increase in interest in digital health.
So on the Doctor Anywhere side, what we have done to manage this increased demand is actually to scale up a lot of our resources. I think it's important to also remember that Doctor Anywhere, we don't just have a digital health component, we actually have a very strong physical clinic as well as a strong team of home-based medical professionals. So there's been a lot of demand for our home-based services, both doctors, nurses, as well as our phlebotomists. So we've really had, initially, I think we had some difficulty trying to scale up the manpower, but that's really taken off quite a fair bit in the last couple of months. I think when more and more people would prefer to stay at home. I think we are quite lucky in the sense that ultimately we are still quite digitalized. So it's really easy for us to scale up the tech aspect of things. We're able to definitely see more patients on the platform and all these things. So that really isn't an issue for us.
Thanks. Dr. Yang, thanks for the answer. Gurpreet, I was wondering what's happening at Raspberry in response to COVID as well. You're on mute.
Sorry, thanks very much for the question. So indeed, the COVID-19 pandemic has really put us at a position where a couple of interesting technological innovations and adaptations had to be done in order to meet some of the requirements by hospitals specifically to mitigate some of these infections, and how do we really reduce the infection controls in the hospitals. So with respect to Raspberry's platform, while we were relatively still digitalized, with respect to say inpatient monitoring or hospital-based monitoring, there were a couple of required advanced, more technological work that we actually had to go about doing it. But I think garnering with the ecosystem support that we have, we have actually successfully been able to provide our support towards the COVID-19 efforts.
Thank you. And Carson?
Hi, thank you for the question. So I think just last year, people think that digital healthcare is for the future, is a healthcare for future. But in 2020, we think the future is now. So we are seeing a digital transformation, the utilization of telemedicine rise from 2% to 35%. And what is amazing is that although the physician can provide video consultation, but they don't have the test result they used to have in the hospital. And that's exactly what iSensor can offer, at-home testing. So since the pandemic, we have been, for example, we are seeing people with chronic disease, they are impacted because they are afraid of going to hospital and might get infected. So they'll rather stay at home or go to nearby pharmacy stores. And we provide a decentralized testing solution that allow people to do tests at home and at clinics and pharmacy stores, which I think will help to fight against pandemic. So along with the pandemic, we are also developing a test for COVID-19, influenza, and other tests. So that's our current strategy.
Thank you, Carson. So maybe I'll take some of the audience questions, and I'll start with you, Carson. One of the questions I have is, what is the efficiency for the influenza test?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So in the past, if you want to make sure you get influenza, you usually have to go to hospital. But right now, people want to minimize hospital exposure. But if they are not sure about their symptom, they can do this first at home. So if the result turns out to be negative and they feel uncomfortable, they can still go to hospital. But if it's positive, so they can start to receive prescription and to take medicine to see whether it improves over time. So it's much more efficient compared with you always have to go to hospital and to know the results.
Maybe a follow-up question to that. How scalable is the manufacturing for the sensor that you presented? And what could be the approximate cost for someone to test it at home?
So this is a great question. So the advantage of using smartphone is super scalable. So right now, almost everyone has a smartphone. So we only add a plastic piece onto it to reflect light and to get the results. It's just within dollars. So in the future, we envision that will test that just a few dollars, so you can do a test at home without going to a hospital.
Got it. Thank you. Just moving on to Gurpreet, maybe this question is is Raspberry intending to connect the sensor data with the public health data system? What are the challenges with integrating with IHIS, for example?
Yeah, so Raspberry, otherwise, we are connected with IHIS. We have actually successfully connected with IHIS per se. And definitely look towards integrating the system with the public health data systems that is in existence. So definitely there are actually a lot of opportunities specifically towards remote patient monitoring, bringing hospital care to home settings, and much of these would require some form of level of integration, particularly with public health systems. So Raspberry, by and large, we are HSA approved, and we are connected with the public health systems in place.
Got it. Maybe a follow-up question could be, what does your product roadmap kind of look like in terms of, what could be the additional sort of diseases that you would be looking to cover for predictive monitoring?
So by and large, for Raspberry, we are very focused towards two kinds of chronic diseases, namely COPD and heart failure. COPD and heart failure are one of the largest prevalences in terms of the disease spread across APAC, and also broadly looking towards the western part of the hemisphere that includes US and EU. We are, of course, looking at additional chronic disease that is actually mental health, which is actually fairly comorbid versus other diseases like COPD and heart failure. So for us, our product roadmap definitely is towards personalization of care using AI platforms where we aggregate lots of data and use personalized artificial intelligence platforms to be able to provide more predictive, more targeted predictions towards clinical deterioration.
All right, thank you, Gurpreet. Doctor, I'm just going into some questions from Dr. Anywhere. So can we use the platform for sort of patient outreach in terms of patient awareness and diagnostic value? For example, something like HPV testing or thyroid testing in mass. You're on mute.
Yeah, so actually it's a very interesting question because we do have a lot of large-scale mass health screenings that we conduct for a lot of our corporate partners. So I think the question about whether we are able to do large-scale testing for HPV testing, thyroid testing, the answer definitely is a yes. In terms of marketing outreach, we do have a very strong, I would say, B2B channel that actually brings in a lot of these corporate partners that we have to do large-scale testing. So on our app itself, we use that mainly for the B2C channels, where we actually can reach out to individual consumers to encourage them to do screenings for HPV and thyroid testing. But I think that our biggest value proposition is really going to be the B2B with our team.
Got it. It also looks like your primary sort of age group is around 30 to 50. What is your experience with addressing elderly age group?
Yeah, so I think that's a problem I think most telemedicine companies all throughout the world face. We do see that a lot of the users that use telemedicine platforms tend to be very young. So in our experience, it's really between the ages of about 30 to 50. So we are trying to look at targeting the slightly more elderly age group above 50 years old. So there are inherent challenges. The first one being the fact that most of them may not be the most tech savvy. There may also be language obstacles. So what we're trying to do is we do actually collaborate with Ministry of Health in Singapore as well as Health Promotion Board to actually have very, I would say, well-organized programs that target specifically the older age group. I think one of the other big trust that we have is actually towards chronic disease on the more elderly side. So we are actually starting to roll out chronic disease management programs for such patients. So we are starting to look at trying to bring in some of these slightly more elderly patients into the fold, but I think it still takes a bit of time to get acceptance and to really get wide-scale usage.
Carsten, just coming back to you, I think we're getting some follow-up questions on what we were just sharing. Mm-hmm. I think one of the questions I have from the audience, which is interesting, is in market, rapid test kits could achieve an accuracy of about 60 to 70%. Can I know what are the percentage of accuracy of your device in diagnosing influenza tests?
Mm-hmm. So we have to conduct a clinical study to know an actual number. But right now we are estimating it will be on par or a little bit better.
And maybe after the vaccine availability, do you see any sort of like a specific use case emerge for both COVID and non-COVID diseases? What could that possibly look like?
Yes, I think although the pandemic will settle at some point, but I think the behavior has been shaped. So we are foreseeing that more of the tests can be done at home, especially for those minor diseases. And for less, they can conduct the test at home and to consult their doctor for further opinions.
Okay. I think just to sort of wrap it up, I think one of the common questions that I kept seeing from the audience is, which sort of regions are you focusing right now? Where is it currently available, and where do you sort of see it in the next 5 years? So maybe you can go first, Carson, and then I'm...
Okay. So right now we have presence in US at CVS stores, and also in Europe, in many of the pharmacy stores in Italy. And also we have some distributors in Asia as well. So going forward, I think Europe will remain an important market for us. And also US will be, because they tend to adopt digital health early on. So this will remain our two major markets.
Okay, and Gurpreet?
So our core markets of interest actually typically are the APAC markets, broadly speaking. So we have deployments in Malaysia, Indonesia, and we also are starting some test deployments in other APAC regions. But obviously, US market is one of the core markets as well for Raspberry per se.
Got it. And Dr. Yang?
So I think we actually have already started moving into the regional markets within Southeast Asia. I think Malaysia, Philippines, Thailand. I think the next 5 to 10 years, what's actually going to happen is that we have, and in fact, the process has already started. We are going to expand to really all other areas of healthcare. Telemedicine was really our original pillar, but the shift has now moved to really include things such as the physical clinic space, the home-based testing, as well as the home-based care space. The whole idea is that whatever healthcare need that you have, be it telemedicine, be it the fact that you need specialist care or home-based care, we're able to provide it. So it's really providing all these verticals within the entire healthcare ecosystem.
Thank you. That's all the time we have. Thank you so much for joining in. And I guess the questions will keep coming, but you can always get in touch with these great sort of companies that we've been working with. Back to the next section of presentation. Thank you so much for joining in.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.